Hi, it's me again with Corel Tips and Tricks. Somebody sent me this. I made a video a while back. Well, I made 3 videos, and so this is part 4 on a font called a Hello Honey font and how to use it. But they want to be able to draw 2 hearts. And inside that Hello Honey, it doesn't have that. And I'll put a link to at least part 3 at the bottom, and you can just search part 3. But if you'll take your text tool and then highlight that, you get this down arrow. And you could put a heart, and it draws a heart in that love. Now I'm trying to match the font that they had that's pretty close to this. So I'm going to use this font. Well, that's not even that close. There we go. That's pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and convert that font to a curve, and I'm going to left click, right click. And you can see it needs to be welded, and I'm going to select it all and go up to object shaping and weld, and now it's all one solid deal. But we're just going to borrow this heart in these swoops from Hello Honey. So what I'm going to do now is convert this font into a curve. I'm going to go ahead and left click, right click, and then I am going to steal this heart by just taking 2 2-point lines and then taking the Smart Fill tool and filling that heart in. So now I have that heart. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to move this line so it'll be a little bit longer on the tail end or the front end. Take the Smart Fill tool. The Smart Fill tool makes a new object. So now I have a new heart. I'm going to go ahead and left click, right click, and then I'm going to bring in my heart and see how I can make that heart kind of match, somewhat match that swoop. And you could use any font, and you could change the font, but the idea here is just to get 2 hearts. So let's move all this out of the way. Now what I'm going to do is take our heart and Control D and make a duplicate, and then I'm going to reduce that second heart in size. Now, you might be able to take all this and weld it, but it worked for the most part. It really worked quite well. I'm going to call that really good. I'm going to delete some of the bad parts. So I'm going to take my shape tool and delete that node right there to make it kind of like a sweep. Maybe even delete those nodes. Whoop, too many. There we go. And then I don't like that first tail of that part. So what I'm going to do is take a 2-point line and go from that node to that node. And then I can take my virtual segment delete key and delete that. And then we're going to delete that and delete that. And it looks a little funny, maybe because of one of the tails. It's just personal preference what you want to do. This has a longer tail, and what I would do in that case, I always find it easier to take the 3-point line and go from about the center outwardly, and then put a little curve to it, and then turn that line, let's zoom in here, turn that line into something thicker. Still working with millimeters. I was helping somebody the other day. That's a little bit too thick. So I'm going to type in 2.5. You know what? Let's go 2.25. Let's go 2. That's about the right thickness. I'm going to take that line. Well, you know what I'm going to do first? I'm going to give it a round cap. So I'm going to hit F12 on my keyboard and give it a round cap. That way that end will be round from my font. Now I'm going to go to object and convert the outline to an object. And then I'm going to left click, right click. And then several ways you could do that. I'm just going to take the virtual segment delete key and just swipe through there. Now we got some extra nodes, but we can fix that. after we use the Smart Fill tool. So I'm going to swipe through here and get the Smart Fill tool. It's a little bit different than the one I made earlier. Don't really know why. It still looks good. But then once you get the Smart Fill tool, you can left click, right click, and if you wanted to, you could clean up where these nodes were. See, there's just so many nodes. You got to be careful not to do too many of them. I'm just going to delete the node so we have a kind of a swooping, and that looks a little bit funny, but let's see what happens when we delete that. Like, it looks good. Everything looks good, and then just take your Smart Fill tool back in, and you've got that pretty close to the same one as this. Anyway, I hope that answered their question, and thank you for watching.